Hi, my name's Krista Williams, and I'm giving my informative speech today on nursing. This is my audience. Oh, shoot. There they are. All right. So how many of you guys have had a loved one, whether it be a sibling or a parent, have to stay in the hospital before? How many of you guys have had to stay in the hospital yourselves before? Okay, so if you haven't encountered this situation yet, you eventually will, just because of the way life goes. And when you do, you're going to want to know a little bit about the people that are going to be taking close care of you, which are registered nurses. So between the research that I've done on this career field and the current classes that I'm in right now as a nursing major, I've learned a lot about this career field and just what it entails and how you can get there. So that's why I'm able to give you this speech today. A registered nurse is a career that's going to involve just taking care of your patients, fighting for their lives, trying to save their lives, trying to make them comfortable, both physically and emotionally. And as you do this, you're able to just be the hands and feet of Christ, serving other people. And I validate my thesis today by presenting the vigorous coursework that nurses go through in order to get their BSN and become a registered nurse. I'm also going to talk about the things that you do in your daily life as a nurse and how you're able to serve God through those things. So the first subtopic that I want to discuss is, in fact, nursing school. And just to start this off, I'm going to give you a quote by Will Erstad from his article, How Hard is Nursing School? Students Tell All. So it says, it is no longer good enough to be just correct. Your answers need to be the most correct. So that basically gives you a little taste of what nursing school is about. It's not always about being correct, but it's always about being the most correct, because there are often a lot of things you could do for your patient that would help them, but there's probably only one answer that's really going to save their life, and that's obviously the one that you want to choose. So it requires a lot of critical thinking to be a nurse, and nursing school prepares you for that with the different tests and exams and clinicals they put you through. So, and I also think it's really important as a nursing student to make sure that you are focusing on the Lord, keeping Him as your number one priority, finding rest in Him, that you're not going to get from anything else that's secular. So I think that's so important to keep in mind. So now that we've discussed a little bit about nursing school, I'm going to talk about the daily life of an RN. So obviously it depends on, the different settings that RNs can work in, but ultimately this job is going to require a lot more than people realize. So just a quote from Cecilia Isaac from What Do Registered Nurses Do? It says, so what does a registered nurse do? Often far more than a single patient realizes. And that seems very vague and surface level, but it's just kind of showing you that nurses do a lot of things that they don't necessarily get credit for. It takes a lot to be a nurse. So they can do anything from providing health education to patients, wound care, taking care of post-op patients, pre-op patients, working on a cardiac floor with hearts and heart monitors, administering medication, keeping up with patient stats. I mean, I really could go on forever about the different things that nurses do, but ultimately they're the voice for their patient. They're fighting for their patient's life. They're helping their patient be comfortable, communicating with the family, helping them feel better about the situation, and really just being really humble and just loving on them as Christ does to us. So it's just a really cool opportunity to minister to other people, which is actually my next point. So now you understand what nurses do. You can understand how they can use that to serve other people and to just support what the Lord values and what His Word values. So the Lord calls us in this world, no matter what our job title is, to show others the love of Christ, to serve others, and just to promote what He values, which includes human life, loving others, and then, of course, loving ourselves, taking care of our own bodies. So God gives compassion to us. He is obviously a very compassionate God. He's very loyal. He's very faithful. And so through those characteristics we see in Him, we are taught how to be a nurse. Those are characteristics you need to have as a nurse. And so nursing is not tested by God's word, which is really cool. Nurses are actually sworn to be ethically and morally correct at all times between making decisions for their patients and just interacting with families and patients and with each other. So this just really is cool how, as a nurse, you're never called to go against God's word. You're actually called to follow it. Whether you believe in it or not, you are following it as a nurse. So hopefully now each of you has a better understanding of what a nurse does, how they can use this to serve the Lord, So in conclusion, I remind each of you that being a nurse is a really special calling. It's definitely not for everybody, but if the Lord does call you in your life to become a nurse, then you're able to serve Him by valuing human life, obviously, as you fight to save it. You're called to value your own body, and of course other people's bodies as you're teaching them how to take care of themselves. And you're called to just serve others. You're going to see patients in really, really awkward, uncomfortable situations. You're going to be with them through their most vulnerable moments in life, and you're going to be building them back up physically, emotionally, and just being a support system for them. So thank you all for listening to me today. Hopefully next time you find yourself in a hospital, whenever you see a nurse, you'll remember what they do and who they're serving when they do it, and hopefully you even remember to thank them. Thank you.